Hey, I'm Brendan Moran, and welcome to Creek Currents. Today we're sitting down with Mayor Bob. Bob Simmons, thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for asking.
You were recently appointed to your second term as mayor, and you've been on the city council since 2008. So you've seen a lot, I imagine.
There have been a lot of changes.
What are some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of in the city?
You know, I think keeping the city together as a unit is something that's been very important. We've struggled financially, as did just about everybody over this time. And I'm pleased with that we've been able to maintain the balanced budget throughout this process. And in this last budget cycle, we've been able to provide modest salary increases for our employees. And we are starting to be able to do some things in the community that are really important. They're all requiring some type of community engagement and involvement. And when you look at, and I'll give an example, like the All Abilities Playground, it was not just a city funded, but it was the county provided some assistance. And then the local community came in and provided a lot of assistance. So that's part of what makes Walnut Creek just a really special place, is the degree of community involvement in our city.
You touched on the finances, and the economy is always a topic of interest. So tell me, how is the city doing financially?
We are managing in accordance with our budgets. Mm-hmm. The long-term financial forecast still projects a deficit for the next 8 to 10 years, and it doesn't go beyond that. So, you know, we don't quite know what the period beyond that will be. So we are going to have to continue to be fiscally cautious and approach each budget cycle trying to do the most we can do for the community with the resources we have.
Anybody that spends any time driving around downtown Walnut Creek sees all of the development that's going on. And that's great. So how is the city preparing for all this growth?
That's an interesting question. You know, when I was appointed as mayor, we had been hearing some feedback from the community raising concerns about the amount of residential construction going on in our downtown. And that whole The emphasis on the downtown residential construction is really a number of factors. One is to protect the urban limit lines so that we don't have sprawl going way out into the green areas. And once you still have people moving in, you have no choice, you have to go up. The second component was really to bring density near BART, because you want to reduce the number of vehicle miles traveled by individuals. And so the third factor that goes is we really actually want to bring more people into our downtown, and having the exterior part of the downtown, a lot of housing in it, does all three things. And I think, you know, each time we go through one of these projects, we take a look at what it will mean for traffic, how do the streets need to be modified, how much parking has to be provided on site, because they all have to park themselves. And then we look at also community benefits. So we are looking at a number of different things as we review and either approve or don't approve a particular project.
So there's a lot of people coming to Walnut Creek for the first time. Okay. How is the city going to keep up its public safety standards?
We have an excellent police department. They are fully staffed now, which is important. Our police department has done two things that I particularly want to highlight here. One is that they've placed a school resource officer at both public high schools, one at Las Lomas and one at Northgate. And in addition, they've, with assistance from the shopping center there, they've opened up a side office in the Rossmore Shopping Center so that they can, you know, have better service in that area of our city.
Now, anybody that knows Mayor Bob knows that what's really important to him is the environment. Am I right?
The environment is very important to us, as is a number of other things. But let me talk about some of the things that we have been doing and are likely be doing in the future. We are in the process of acquiring 5 acres of open space in the Sugarloaf open space area. We are, through our climate action plan, dealing with a number of things to try to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and also reduce our CO2 emissions, both of which are very important for our future. Some of the things that we're doing in that area is that we are subsidizing one of the bus routes that goes to the Creekside area. So those individuals that live in the Creekside have the chance now to take a free ride by bus from their area to BART. And when we started that, it tripled the ridership. So it just shows how many, sometimes if you provide some extra subsidy, you get more people out of their cars and using public transit.
Right.
In the area of energy, we have done two things that are significant. One, we approved what's called a Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, which allows private property owners to install solar on their roofs, and it becomes an assessment on their property as opposed to paying all that money up front. And the second thing we did is we entered into this large organization with Alameda County and a lot of other municipalities and made a mass purchase of photovoltaic panels. And the council recently approved building large arrays at Heather Farm Park and at Boundary Oak Golf Course and on top of one of our garages. And not only will that be financially desirable from the city's future energy or future cost issue, but it also reduces the greenhouse gas emissions and it reduces the CO2 emissions of the city. So the city is doing a number of things. I'll mention one other because the drought is always a topic for people.
Sure.
And our Public Works Department is really focused on trying to convert turf areas to drought-tolerant vegetation in a lot of our parks and other areas that, like on some of the medians and stuff, so that not only does it reduce maintenance, but it reduces the amount of water that the city needs and ultimately has to pay for, and provides vegetation that is more appropriate for our environment.
Quite a bit going on.
There's a lot going on, and the city is doing a good job, but there's still a lot to do.
Well, as the city continues to evolve, what kind of changes are you most excited about?
I think that the residential development that we have in and near our downtown is going to change our downtown, and is going to change it for the better. We're going to be bringing some new, in some cases, young people that want to live in Walnut Creek, and I think that's important. I think the recent approval of the Orchards development in the Shadelands Business Park will be a big boost for that eastern part of our city, which really, some of them don't want to come down Ignacio Valley Road to have dinner all the time.
Right.
They'll look forward to having that chance. And then all the changes that are occurring in our downtown, it'll be wonderful to see Broadway Plaza completed with all of the work that they're doing. So there's a lot of things going on in the city. And then in the context of all that, we're taking a really careful, thoughtful, community-based look at what's called our West Downtown. It's 172 acres in size, so it's a really large area, but we're trying to figure out how we want it to look in 20 and 25 years. And it's hard to envision, how do you want it to be in 25 years when you see as much change that has occurred in the last 25 years.
Right.
What are we going to need in 25 years? And it's interesting and it's exciting to sort of take a step back and think about that process and think about what can we do to help that happen. So the last thing I wanted to mention, this area was really something I'm interested in, and we're trying to get the council to work on it. And it's usually described as urban agriculture, and we've taken the community gardening part of that and asked our pros commission to take a look at that. I would like us to be focusing on what's called indoor agriculture, where the technology is just changing how we grow things phenomenally. And I'll use an example. There's this 25,000 square foot facility in Japan that produces like 10,000 heads of lettuce a day, and they can produce that lettuce with using 1% of the water that you use in the field. And so I would like to see us look at how we can create a public-private partnership to actually accelerate that, because it'll be good for jobs, it'll be good for bringing local agriculture to Central Contra Costa, and I just think it has a number of wonderful aspects to it going forward.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Mayor Bob, thank you for chatting with us today.
Always glad to chat.
And if anyone out there wants to chat with you, I understand you'll be having some chat with the mayor events. Is that right?
Well, we're actually calling them Conversations with the Mayor, but it's the same thing. And we've had our first one, and we had probably about 60 people come, and there were a lot of questions and a lot of comments, and it was very vigorous dialogue. And I think everybody that came appreciated, they didn't always like my responses, but that's the way it is. But they appreciated the fact that somebody from the city went out to the neighborhoods as opposed to always having to come down to City Hall. So that was really positive. We have 5 more of those. And in addition, I reinstated my monthly walks, and they'll always be on the second Saturday, usually at 10 a.m. And we walk in different areas of the city, and we talk about some of the things in those areas, and they're usually pretty well attended with 30, 35 people, and we have a lot of fun.
So if somebody wants to know when the next conversation with the mayor or one of your walks, where can they go to find out?
The best place to go is to the city's website, which is www.walnut-creek.org, and it is listed there. The conversations are all at 7 o'clock, except for one in Rossmore, which we have in the afternoon. And the walks always start at 10 o'clock, except in the summertime we'll be doing it at 9.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Mayor Bob.
Thank you.